The first light of dawn crept timidly over the small coastal village, casting a pale golden haze across the horizon where the sea met the sky. The waves whispered against the shore, their rhythmic sighs mixing with the distant cries of seagulls already circling for scraps. The air smelled of salt and the faint rot of seaweed left tangled on the sand from the night tide, and somewhere far down the beach, a dog barked lazily before curling back into its slumber. Near the end of the old wooden pier, a young boy was already at work. His name was Rahim, barely 16, yet his face carried the quiet seriousness of someone who had known life's burdens far too early. His hands, red and raw from the cold seawater, worked methodically as he sorted the morning's catch into neat rows on a worn fishing mat. Each fish glistened under the soft light, their silver scales catching fleeting sparks of color, but Rahim barely noticed the beauty, his mind was on the day ahead. His patched clothes hung loosely on his wiry frame, the knees of his trousers worn thin from years of mending, the seams of his shirt rough against his skin. A frayed rope tied around his waist served as a belt, and on his feet, he wore nothing at all. The soles had long toughened against the splinters of the pier and the sharp pebbles of the shore. Rahim's father had been a fisherman too, but 5 years ago, the sea had claimed him in a storm that even the oldest villagers still spoke of in hushed tones. That night, the wind had howled like 1,000 angry spirits, tearing sails to ribbons and shattering boats like toys. Many fishermen had turned back when the skies darkened, but Rahim's father had pushed on, determined to bring home a catch for his family. He never returned. They found pieces of his boat days later, tangled among rocks far up the coast, but his body was never recovered. Since then, Rahim's small family, his mother, weakened by illness, and his younger sister, Safia, had survived only through high. The months after Rahim repaid Amina were some of the most quietly hopeful he had known. The sea, though still unpredictable, seemed to grant him fairer days than before. His new boat was sturdy, his net stronger, and his small stall at the market had begun attracting regular customers who trusted his honesty and admired his work ethic. Safia, now a little older, had learned to read simple sentences under Amina's patient guidance, and Rahim's mother, though still frail, often sat outside their home in the afternoons, watching the waves and humming soft lullabies from her youth. Yet beneath this fragile peace, a shadow was forming, one Rahim didn't notice until it was nearly upon him. It began when a wealthy merchant from the city returned to the village. He was a tall man with a sharp smile and eyes that missed nothing. His clothes were fine, his boots polished, and his voice carried the smooth confidence of someone accustomed to getting his way. He wasn't here for fish this time, he was here for land, specifically, the stretch of shoreline where Rahim's home and several other fishermen's huts stood. He claimed he wanted to build a storage warehouse for goods from the city, promising jobs and fair compensation for anyone willing to sell. But Rahim knew that fair meant something very different to a man like him. Some villagers, weary of struggle, accepted the offer. They packed their belongings and left within days, trading the uncertain life of fishing for the promise of steady wages in the city. Others, including Rahim, refused. "This is my father's home," Rahim told the merchant when he was approached. "It's not just wood and stone, it's the place where my family has lived for generations. You can't put a price on that." The merchant's smile didn't falter, but his eyes hardened. "Everyone has a price," he said simply before walking away. Rahim felt the weight of those words in the days that followed. Nets were mysteriously slashed during the night. One morning,